Well, welcome. My name is Leland Little, and today I am delighted and privileged to be sitting with Brad Rauschenberg. Brad, welcome. We are thrilled to have you with us for this narrative today and talking about your body of work in Southern Decorative Arts and with Mazda. And I think the first thing that comes to mind is tell us a little bit about your relationship over 50 years, not only with Mazda, but its founder, Frank Horton, and your colleague, John Bivens, who you wrote this beautiful 3-volume book on Charleston furniture. Tell us a little bit about how that all came to be.
I joined the Coast Guard. When I joined the Coast Guard, I met Milby Burton, who used to be the director of the Charleston Museum. She started telling me about his life in the Civil War, and all of a sudden, there I was, my mind was in another place. Then he took me back and he began to show me Charleston furniture. I didn't really know what it was. I looked around. Then the more he showed me, the more I began to understand. I stayed in Charleston off and on for several years. I went in so many homes down there. I became very conscious of all this mahogany around me, the dark, early mahogany, and the later, lighter mahogany came out of Honduras. The volume of furniture was everywhere, and so I started taking pictures. All of a sudden I realized I had so many photographs of Charleston furniture more than any other decorative art. So I started grouping it, and all of a sudden I said, hey, there's enough to do a book here. It was kind of a self-taught thing, as was my photography that I did over the years, but Frank helped me. We applied for a National Endowment for Humanities grant. We got one and then we renewed it over the years. But 14 years of every other week in the field where we photographed objects throughout the whole South. Over the years, I knew John. He was working in another office. And then John and I got together and we said, well, let's do a book on Charleston furniture. John's contribution cannot be overstated. John was a great fellow. We published it and got to the point where let's decide what the cover is going to be.
How did you decide that?
I was on my way to see my parents in Sarasota, Florida, and I saw this little sign on the side of the road, Awful Broadfield Plantation. I said, I'm going to take the time and go down there to see that house, to see what's there, if anybody's home. Knocked on the door, the man said, sure, come on in, I'll show you. Opened the door to another room, and the first thing I saw was a Charleston rice bed. I said, oh gosh, I got to photograph this. The rule of thumb, always carry a camera with you. He said, well, what's this over here? It looks, is this English or what is it? And I saw a desk and bookcase on the side, and I said, I cannot believe it. It must be English, because it had a lot of inlay on the top of it. Well, I pulled a drawer out and it was cypress.
Cypress secondary wood.
Secondary wood. And then we said, stop the press.
And this is what?
And that's, the other cover was going to be something else. That was a big discovery that day.
It certainly was. Brad, when you talk about, or what we're hearing is your voluminous notes on cabinet makers, photos of Charleston pieces, your relationships with some of the early authors, right? As you sit back and reflect, do you see yourself more of a detective, a storyteller, preservationist? What grabs you as what your value that you have been bringing to Southern Decorative Arts?
I see myself as a discoverer.
Discoverer.
Yeah. There's so many things to see and talk to. Another side of all this is the kindness most people showed us coming to their houses. And we really enjoyed all people throughout the South. Some we had problems with once we were faced with a shotgun.
Ah!
But,
yeah.
But when the man became real conscious of who I think he was really asleep, he put the shotgun down, and we bought a William and Mary Day bed from him.
Once he got calmed down. Yeah. You know, you were telling the story about the home in Florida where you discovered this beautiful piece that made the front cover of your book. You mentioned that at first you're like, is this an English piece of furniture? When you are looking at a museum or in a home, and you see a piece that you know is a Southern piece of furniture with your expert eye, what is it that you're looking for that would help or tell a general person what it is that you're seeing, what it is that you recognize?
So over a while, we refined our eye, and we could walk in and say, oh, that's a piece from Mecklenburg County. Well, that's a piece from Roanoke. That's a piece from Shenandoah Valley. But that takes time. That takes observation, experience. That's a big thing. But never will forget once, a friend of mine, Jim Pratt,
Mm-hmm.
he said, Brad, there's a piece coming up for sale up in Ohio. Let's go see it. We did. We drove up there, walked in, and the man knew we were coming, auction person. He had his gallery wide open, lights on, and this piece was at the far end. Walked in, said it's fake, and it was.
And you knew it from walking in.
Just, you know,
It was just
you could sense it,
your experience.
the eye.
What do you think is important about continuing the narrative of discovering and communicating Southern decorative arts to the generation to come?
I can say that there was a point where I thought I'd found everything in Charleston. I was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I found half the things.
Mm-hmm.
And same throughout the whole South. Things are always going to be found, always discovered in homes.
I couldn't agree with you more, right? Well, you were so helpful and informative when I brought your attention to the Limestone University Charleston desk and bookcase, and you helped author the essay in the catalog description, which had a great value. But let's go back to 1980. Tell the story of when you were at Limestone College at that time and what that day looked like when you first saw this piece 45 years ago. What did you feel that day?
Frank Horton and a field representative at that time were going around, and I was with them. And we'd walked in that building, and Frank looked down the hall. It was dark, and he said, well, there's nothing here. I said, wait a minute, Frank, there's something I want to see.
Yeah.
And there was a piece against a wall on the right side. I'll never forget it. I looked at it. That's an important piece, Frank. He said, we don't have time to do that now. It looks British. This is younger times in our knowledge. So we left. And then to see where this piece emerges again after 1980, and to walk in and see this in your auction gallery.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it, but I knew it was the same piece.
But your instincts at that time, you looked down the hallway, because of all the photos you had taken, because of the time you had studied, you were able to visually identify it as a Charleston piece.
I thought it was. And always keep that in mind. Sometimes you think something is until you know it is.
So you did the research.
But in discovering the limestone piece was really a pinnacle in a lot of my interests. And it's important to other people to hear that, because knowledge always increases.
Right. And I want to thank you because, to your point, right, knowledge increases value, that because of your work over 50 years, right, and because of this 3-volume set of books that you and John Bivens produced, that has increased awareness, has increased knowledge, and because of that, when opportunities like this come, which don't happen very often, but when they do, people are more knowledgeable and the market appreciates them on a greater scale, and that's greatly due to the narrative that you've built over 5 decades and So I, on behalf of the entire Southern Decorative Arts community of collectors, auctioneers, dealers, thank you for your love and passion that you've poured into this for a lifetime.
I appreciate being asked to come here. And I will tell you one thing, my research, my personal research on Limestone University and how that piece got into the backcountry from Charleston has not stopped. I'm going to continue to research that.
The story is still being written. So, Brad, thank you for being here with us today, and thank you for your scholarship you've brought to Southern Decorative Arts.
Thanks, I appreciate that.